Act weird. What's good, everybody? It is your boy Jay here with the Sooner or Later Sports Show. We got Coop here on here as well. My apologies for the 30-minute delay because, your boy ain't got internet, right? Literally 5 minutes before we were starting the show, what happened? The internet stopped working. Gotta love that, right? So thank y'all for pulling up. We appreciate it. Thank y'all for y'all's patience as usual. Please hit that like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. If you're listening to the podcast version, rate, review, give us 5 stars. I don't think we deserve it. Give us 5 anyway and gift it. So on today's episode, me and Coop's got a lot of fun stuff to kind of talk about. I was hoping to be able to share screens, but that's probably going to happen. But anyway, we got the 2 commitments that just came through. We're also going to talk about the blue chip ratio and possibly who's next on the commitment trail. And then we'll wrap things up with SEC coaches that you do not want to fight. So, Coop, man, how you doing?
Man, I've got my internet and I've got my power, so
wow,
I feel good. I feel good, and I feel for you because, man, our circle's had a little bit of a struggle bus here recently. So if you're one of the boys from the Discord, Topher, my man, our hearts are with you. I had a funeral for a family member yesterday, but man, we get to be here and finagle some stuff and talk some good stuff. So let's get it going.
Yeah, man, it's my apologies. Like I said, it was so. If y'all, for those that don't know, the storms that came through the Oklahoma City area, I was one of the casualties of that. I lost a branch, and then the internet as well as the power. I actually didn't have power last night. I went to bed last night with no power. Woke up this morning to no power. And so, yeah, it was definitely, it wasn't hot. That's the good thing, though. I did wake up, it was about 80-something degrees outside, but it was still a nice, chilly 70-something. And then we got power sometime after 12 o'clock. And about 11 o'clock is when it was. But luckily, I wasn't home. I didn't have to deal with it. So we appreciate y'all coming in. Coop, man, great day, of course, because we got commitments, right? We actually got 2 nice commitments. You got CJ Nixon that went ahead and gave us a commitment here. What was that? Was that yesterday?
Yesterday.
That was yesterday's. And then today we had an offensive line commit that could change the game for us. Now, I know PG, you got to make sure you check him out. He dropped a video, and me and him was actually talking about it. There's a lot to be excited about that addition, especially with Sean, because, it could lead to other implications. So, Coop, let's start off with this. CJ Nixon, seeing him come through, how'd you feel about that?
CJ's a guy that's been on campus. I mean, he could probably, I'm full on stealing here from the guys at Sooner Scoop because he said it. Josh said it best, but he said that CJ could probably lead the tour for the cats coming in and the recruits coming in because he's been there so much and he's got so many ties to the program. You get a dual sport athlete, you get some help a little bit on the basketball side, and they don't have to use a basketball scholarship, so that's kind of a good twist for there. But where is he going to play? We keep talking about this positionless football, and we keep on talking about these hybrid guys who can play multiple positions. Nixon's another one of these guys that can do the tight end side, or he can go for that, the defensive end, potentially a cheetah, potentially outside linebacker, but most likely that defensive end spot. So you bring in an absolute athlete, and he's one that, again, you build the wall around your state, you keep your in-state guys in-state, and so CJ, glad to have you on board, brother.
Yeah, I'm excited about CJ. He was one of those players I definitely wanted us to. He was one of those must-have guys, mainly twofold. One, not only is he talented, he's like the number 5 athlete on 3. And he's a top 10 athlete in the country, but he's also an okay prep, right? He's from Weatherford. Shout out to Ethan Downs, get another player from the Weatherford area, and trying to make sure that we keep the Oklahoma pipeline. I have so much appreciation and I've said this numerous times. I've heard me say this in videos in the past, but I have so much appreciation for the fact that Coach Venables and this staff has focused so much on OK preps. right? Like the last regime did not do that, Coop, and
Yeah.
we all know that we had questions about them going after particular, in-state guys, and the beauty of it is now is all we're seeing is they're really going after the dudes here in the state. So that's what made me excited about CJ coming through and picking Oklahoma over Oklahoma State. It was obvious he wanted to stay home or at least close to home, and of course, the rumors is he's going to be able to hoop also, which is going to be huge for him. At 6'6", 235, he'll have the opportunity to do that. But I know that we see him very much as a potential elite edge. And because of that, I anticipate that we're going to, put that kid to work.
Absolutely. And, James brings up something is we also have Alex Shilknight in the fold. And so he is another dude that you could potentially go tight end, defensive end. So it's just good. Well, like you said, with being an OK prep guy, it keeps that whenever the next guy comes up in Weatherford, you've got a good track record there. And so you just keep on bringing through.
Yep. And so you go from there and you add the next piece, you add in a Sean Hutton at the offensive line. So Coop, I dropped a video on this one when I saw it come through. Sean is from Louisville, Texas. He plays center right now and an interior offensive line, but mainly he played center in high school. So when I saw that we provided the PWO offer, like, okay, obviously we see the talent, but at the same time we've got Owen Hollenbeck. So you don't need 2 or 3 centers in one class unless you can kind of snatch one up that can be the PWO, that can earn their spot in other positions and show that they can play the others, in which I think he can play guard. I've seen him pull in his huddle video, and it made me feel like, yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for that. So we get him. The story, of course, is big. He's very close to 2 other big-time offensive linemen that we would like to potentially, see. And, yeah, but he's also a legacy. He's a legacy OU person. His dad went to Oklahoma, and when I found that out, I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. I see why we definitely had to go for it. So seeing that, cool. What made you think about that?
The comp has been Eric Wren, and our boy Grimlock made a comment that if you can get anything from a PWO, you win. But if you go look at Sean, this is a kid who he moves extremely well. I mean, I've still got my notes here from the video that I did for him today, but it's consistent. He's got consistency. I was watching it, and he throws a couple of wild snaps, back in the film, but I do believe that. I mean, we've seen Creed Humphrey go a little sideways with some snaps before. So, but I like this consistency. Mm-hmm. Comes to the blocking, he gets out, he gets his hands on guys absolutely immediately. And you look at him with a lot of the pulls. We've always liked that GC counter, and so whether he is a guard or a center, that is a move that he looks like he's got down. He does a lot of his huddle film has him doing a lot of pulling, and he will seek out. I mean, he does not quit. There was one where I was like, oh man, you're like 12 yards downfield, but they threw it behind the line of scrimmage. So I was like, yeah, we're fine. But I mean, he just goes out and he's looking. His guy gets tripped up, and he just continues to follow in. So the key of him is, I think he's a guy that you can bring in. We've got Branson Hickman. He is going to be the center right now. You still have Everett on campus, and you still have Josh Bates. And so it gives him that opportunity. So when you saw, Eric Wren, that was a guy who came in and really just kept the ship afloat. And when you don't have a backup center and you don't have good quality depth in that center position, things can go sideways pretty quickly. So I think that this is a guy that he's not just coming to Oklahoma because, like you said, he is a legacy, but he's not just coming to Oklahoma because he's, potentially tossed in with 2 other fellas. He is coming because I think this is a guy that Brent Venables and Coach Bedenbaugh and Seth Luttrell, they want him on campus, and he is just another guy that absolutely is a phenomenal human being. There's guys like Marcus Wimberly that you talk to, and they're just absolutely. I mean, they're studs as people, and so it continues that culture piece that we're trying to do. This is a guy who's going to be a leader, whether he gets to play or not. He's going to go out there and he's going to give 110% all day long. And so, to quote the recent Thunder draft pick, he wants to make everybody 10% better on the court. So, this is one with Hutton. He wants to make everybody 10% better, on the football field too.
Yeah, you need guys that are quote unquote program guys, right? Ones that want to be there, want to play for the team, ones that want to contribute, and ones that want to be like, hey man, I had no problem with being the high five and dad guy, right? That's not a position that it's bad to be in, right? But the other key component though here is that is wondering what his pull is with his friends. If him and his friends want to play on the same team. And so, of course, you got to talk about like Michael Fasusi or whatnot, right? Like a Lamont Rogers. Can that be people? Can those relationships actually translate to, kids wanting to play on the same team? I mean, I've seen kids say, I want to be teammates with this person. They recruit each other. But how much does that matter? How much does it matter to play with your best friend? How much does it matter to play with your sibling, right? That's also the next question you have to ask yourself. And so, but I'm happy with it. I think Sean has an opportunity to prove himself. And again, we've got a lot of centers. You don't know. We may see some dudes hit the portal. We may see some changes roster-wise to where we have a full-fledged opportunity. So, yeah, I like what I saw. So, y'all let me know. Hop in the comments. We want to hear from y'all. How y'all feel about that pickup. I see here from Stoops2Five. So he doesn't see CJ playing b-ball and football. Hey, man, if CJ is good enough, they'll let it. And I say that because the great Julius Peppers did it, and so did Ron Curry. And Curry was the quarterback at UNC, and Peppers was the edge. I mean, they probably won't need Nixon until sometime in January anyway, right? They probably won't be able to leverage him until then. And if he's balling on the football field and we go deep and we make a playoff run, he'll be ready to play right afterwards. I mean, his body will be prepared. He'll be big enough, strong enough, and he'll be in shape. I can see it happening.
Hey, and you can ask Nate Hibble if Julius Peppers can do both, because I still remember that game. I feel like it was a Friday night game. We had North Carolina, and dude came from basketball practice and put Nate Hibble on his backside. I think it was the first game of the season. So yeah, now that is a that is a Hall of Fame caliber defensive end. So I mean, the CJ, I think he's got an upward trajectory that he's going to go as far as his will takes him. But yeah, I mean. If he wants to come here and give it a crack at both sides, I don't think that old Portal Moser is going to tell anybody no to come to Oklahoma at this point.
Right, exactly. So we're not gonna push anybody out. You're gonna give them an opportunity, but like I said, I can see Nixon being good enough to do that. It's just now we're at the point where we have to wait and see. But Coop, from that, man, we gotta ask the question of who's next, right? Y'all in the comments, tell me, who do y'all think's next? Because we know that we've got a few days that we got a few players coming down the line. You got Darius Afalava, which, if I'm correct, he's tomorrow, isn't he?
Friday.
He's Friday. Okay, so
Friday,
he's
20th.
Friday. You got. Let me see. Is Mark on the first?
Mark's on the first. Yeah, Ian Achor is on the first, and I've talked to both those guys today. And I am actually slated, if things work out schedule-wise, I'm going to do a little inside content with Afalava tomorrow. So nice. If you guys are subscribers to the channel, watch out for that, because Afalava is a guy that's, I mean, a lot of guys that I know, Josh McQuistion at Sooner Scoop absolutely loves Afalava, and me and him were talking back and forth on that, and he's a little bit of a road grader, so I'm excited to see him. Right now, Sooners and Utah are the finalists there. So I even reached out to my boy Christian Thatcher. I recently committed to Utah. So Christian, congratulations, brother. These are two guys coming up, and I believe also Cortez Mills, as of right now, is on the first also. He's got a decision. Does he want to be one of five, or does he want to go to Clemson? And they don't have much in the cupboard when it comes to wide receivers. So those are the next three. I'm going to go ahead and say Afalava's the next one. And that's another offensive line guy. And it just happens that the In Beatenball We Trust is the shirt that I have selected tonight because Bill Beatenball is
Good choice.
From what we're hearing here is Bill might mess around and get himself the Recruiter of the Year. And he's just a few things away. I don't know if we look at 4 or 5-star offensive linemen. I don't think that there's a world that actually happens. But you get Foj, who continues his upward trajectory. If you can land, 4-star with Rogers, 5-star with Fasusi, you tip it in with another 4-star in Afalava. It is absolutely something that Sooner fans are going to be in love with when it sees when they see Bill Beanbo actually start throwing some weight around. No pun intended.
Yeah, none taken, especially if we can get Higgins to pick up some additional players. Now, didn't talk about this one, though. We didn't get a chance to really go into it. Topher, of course, you with all the competitive depth out there, and now I got to grab my cup. But Jaden O'Neal. So we're starting 2026 early. Dropped the video. Y'all saw me on Locked On Sooners. By the way, I have joined John Williams over there as his co-host. For those that did not know that, Locked On Sooners daily podcast, that network. They approached me about it a few months ago, had some conversations, and I will be doing that daily as well. This channel's not going anywhere because if you've ever recognized anybody that works in media, they still do their own thing on top of doing that stuff. So there's no true compete because this will be where we'll talk more in depth and more detail about the news that come down the line. Locked On is where you'll get more so the updates and stuff with me and John going back and forth. So me and Coop will still be working and doing our thing. So definitely check us out on both of them. Besides that, wait, did you say Beatenbow mini skirt? Yeah. You can get that shirt that Coop is wearing on the show store. It's the link in the description below. Go look for the merch. Click on that link. We've got Beatenbow. We got BV. I got all the coaches. I need to make Brandon Hall. He's the only one I haven't made yet. I'll have that made by July 1. That way he's on the list because of all these safeties he's picking up. But let's talk with Jaden O'Neal because Seth Luttrell has done everything you had asked for when it comes to being a coach here at the offensive coordinator spot and a quarterback coach in recruiting. The questions were, can we keep that going?
Yeah.
Right? Can QBU keep going here with Seth Luttrell's OC? Now, Seth Luttrell has experience as an OC. What's up, man? What's going on, Whiskey? Keep the bourbon love going. We knew that Seth Luttrell knew what he was doing. So we asked the question, can he keep the streak alive? And guess what, baby? He got himself a quarterback. He's ranked 78th, I think, on 247. He's considered a top 10 quarterback in the country by every single metric, every single site, recruiting site. Seeing him in person, I was stoked. Coop, wanted to get your thoughts on it. How did you feel about Jaden O'Neal and him picking Oklahoma?
Not only does Jaden O'Neal just continue that string of, with Jackson Arnold, Michael Hawkins, Kevin Sperry, now Jaden O'Neal is the next one in. He's got touch. You see the work ethic. He posted it on his Twitter today. He's putting his daily deposit in. He's getting in the room and going to town. This guy, I love his leadership. A lot of the leadership piece that he started, it's already looking Caleb Williams-esque from the 2020 season. I think we talked about that a little bit in a couple other shows that we did. He's going to be a guy who continues to climb. He's got, he is 6'3", 220-ish, so he's got a big frame.
And he's legit. And he's legitimately that size.
And this isn't like 6'1" and a half or anything like that. So he's got some size on him. When you look at him, and I think it's just because he looks like he's 32 years old already. He looks like Jameis Winston. And just from a body type, when he's throwing the ball, it's smooth. He doesn't sometimes when you see guys, they look like they've got to have perfect form and a perfect snap and perfect arm slot. And he looks like a guy who can just make it happen. And I'll pump the brakes here real quick because Patrick Mahomes has changed the game. You know, we talk about with Cortez Mills being a guy who looks like Odell Beckham Jr. Patrick Mahomes has changed the game with guys who want to throw from all arm angles. And O'Neal, he can do it. He can move around. He can move in the pocket. He is a throw-first quarterback, but he is not going to be, the run-around full-on. And right now with this quarterback scheme that we are going to be running under Seth Luttrell, you want the quarterback to be able to take off when he needs to, because you want to have somebody who has to keep an eye on that. So you keep it running, and according to some people, 2027 might be not too far away too, when it comes to the quarterback. Yeah. So, the train is absolutely going, and if you're not in love with O'Neal, go watch his film. This is going to be a guy that Sooner fans are absolutely going to fall in love with.
Yeah. Watch PG. I know he put out a whole bunch of content around Jaden, as well as like some film from the actual throws at the camps. Go check it out. PG show my boy some love. And I know that the Scoops team actually had all the video from there. You've got to go watch that. It is some good stuff, right? He's a good one. So, all right, let me jump to some of these comments real quick. Dominic, do they have different audiences? Not for the most part, yeah and no. The difference is going to be the formats, right? This is more free-flowing, chopping it up, having a good time, and there's a lot more structure there. This is where we come to actually talk and just converse as friends, right? And I love these type of conversations because we can really get off what we're thinking, right? That's how you have fun with it. Zias B, you think the next one is Andrew Babalola? Ooh, that's a bold one. Cool. How you feel about that?
I like it. Babalola he came into campus and he started meeting with everybody in the business at the business school. That is very, very important to him. Now, Stanford is still Stanford. It does not matter how much you love the University of Oklahoma. Stanford is still Stanford. They still do have a football team, and I said it in the past that if you can get drafted out of North Dakota State or Sarasota State or something like that, Kennesaw State, you can get drafted out of Stanford still. The Pac-12 is no more, but Babalola, he is a guy that's not. We're not out of this yet. And if that's a guy who shows up on campus, again, you absolutely have to roll with Beatonbow because he has developed a lot of these relationships. Now, when you take multiple guys at the same position, it's just hard to have a bunch of like 4 or 5, 5-star offensive tackles. So it's an absolute. It's an absolute still possibility.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one or whatnot. That's true. Delray, what's going on to you as well as Jackson? Appreciate y'all pulling up from Noble, Oklahoma. Love that. We all the same typical cats are in here, which we appreciate always the love and the family here. Big Reg just joined us. What's going on? Good to see you, Big Reg. I agree, Bill. Darius would be a really good one. Another good interior offensive lineman. We'll probably talk a little bit. We'll talk more about him going into the weekend. And if Coop can get that lined up to where he can get a interview going, we'll jump on and we'll chop it up with him or whatnot. All right. Let me see. Let's just talk a little bit of ball real quick. So, Coop. 247 dropped a metric out yesterday. Jumped out to a few folks, right? And of course, I saw it and said, yep, I need to go explain a few.
Oh, we may have paused on Jay. So where he's going with this is 247 did drop the blue chip. There you go. Are you back? Here we go. So they've upped the blue chip ratio, and I'm going off of pure mental math here and mental imagery. But they had okay, Jay, you're back here. But they did have. I think Oklahoma were they number 2 or number 3 in the blue chip ratio at 75%.
So they had the top 10, and Oklahoma landed in the. Actually, I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it was 73%. We were 6.
73%.
So it was fifth. We were fifth. I'm sorry, it's fifth at 73. 73%. Right underneath us was our good friends at Texas at 72.
And I mean, this is a pretty cool stat, and I've got it pulled up now here too. But I tweeted out that it was going to be an absolute slap in the face, and that 1% was going to throw people just a little sideways. Some people are going to be a little frustrated with that, but when you're taking a look at these blue chip ratios, the big piece here is that these are not no longer holdovers from the Lincoln Riley regime. These are guys that this coaching staff has brought in. And so with this coaching staff bringing in that level of, and I believe it's here, we got Alabama at 88%, Georgia at 80%, Texas A&M at 79%. And I think that, and then let's see here, Oklahoma at 73%. And so when we have when you have these blue chips, that's how you develop this program. Brent Venables, we've got the drinking game, we got shirts out there, and they're about, we're really working on those, but the competitive depth is way more than an absolute just joke, and it's way more than a talking point with Brent Venables and the staff. Is you have to have these guys, and we talk about we talk about Sean Hutton today, and the program guys. It takes a good mix of these guys, but the blue chip pieces here are these are the higher end 4-star, 5-star guys. These are guys who are high quality that everybody was looking for. And when you throw these names in there, I mean, outside of Texas A&M, these programs all have a decent amount of success. Your Ohio States, your Georgia, your LSU. I think LSU was at 70%. So with that being said, one of the big things that we continue to see is that we're not seeing those 2-star guys. We're not seeing those super, super low 3-star guys. We're not seeing the cats that are coming in who are absolute major projects like the NBA draft for the Oklahoma City Thunder. You're seeing guys who are actually demanding playing time right away. It is a higher caliber athlete, and if you cannot be in that top tier of the blue chips, you're going to have trouble, because you got to be able to have your first line. You see it in the NBA when these super teams are created. It's these front 5 guys, and then they always say the same thing. When you go off into the bench, they got nobody sitting there. And so Jay, just went through it there. What were your thoughts around that? Hopefully our makeshift internet here is keeping it up. I don't think it is.
It is.
I don't think it is. So, but this is a big piece. So, if you guys see that list, go check it out. I mean, you can actually just hit the old Googles and find that list is it's a pretty dope list to actually see where a lot of the winning comes from. And you've got even down where you're taking a look at all of these teams. These are these are all SEC teams. So as Oklahoma goes into the SEC, that is going to be something that we have to continue to maintain and recruit. And obviously with Jaden O'Neal already in the fold, you've already got running back tied in with Mix and Hutton in the fold. It is the screenshot for Jay's frozen face. Jay, I'm pretty sure, has cussed at his internet behind the scenes more than anybody ever has. So the blue chip ratio, it is an absolute big piece, and you're going to have to continue to see that trend going up, because if you don't, then you got just guys as backups. But right now, and Big Reg is in here right now. He just tweeted out a picture, and I think it was Okoye, Michael Boganowski, and Reggie 3. And they're in response to the horns down not being allowed on the NCAA 2025, and they're all dropping the big horns down. So pretty fun when it comes down to that. You want to see absolute studs on this team, first line, second line. So I'm gonna go through here, because another piece, and just taking a look at the questions back in here. And some other names that we see in here, Omarion Robinson. Amir Robinson's another guy that we've talked about quite a bit. You see today that he won in the Rivals, 5-star defensive back challenge. He took home the MVP. This is a guy who is still down to Oklahoma, Arkansas, and one other team. I just, not off the top of my head, not prepped for that piece, but he is a guy that we already have Marcus Wimberly in the fold. With Marcus Wimberly coming in through, he is absolutely working, and you're starting to see guys like Marcus James tweeting out to some of these guys and seeing if we can get these guys to join the fold. This 25 class is not done, and they keep on letting us know on Twitter. Every single one of the commitments, all the guys that are the players on the team already, we're not absolute done. So if you're just pulling up with us, Jay was hit with the storm down in Oklahoma City. Had his power and his internet knocked out. Jay has a good internet background, so if there's anybody who is ever, Jay and I actually used to, if you ever wondered, hey, how did you guys meet? Jay and I actually used to be slinging cell phones together. I worked for a cell phone company, and I was working on the business side, and Jay was actually one of our vendors, and so we have just stayed in touch over a long time. I had a cryptocurrency show that I was part of for a little while, and that's how we came in. So if you're seeing and you're saying that doesn't look like Jay, that's actually because I'm not Jay. I'm just Coop. So the last one is another list comes out, and it was, I believe it was the SEC coaches of who you would not want to get in a fight with if you had to go in for 10 rounds with head coaches in college football. And so this is absolutely June, July content. It still blows my mind, but you've seen guys talking. So if you guys are in the chat, let us know. I mean, obviously, as an Oklahoma fan and seeing Brent Venables still running around the field like a crazy man, he always is out there. He gets in, he does the workouts. I promise you that he does way more running than most head coaches do. But give me your thoughts. Who are some of these coaches that you think might take this is a little bit of the king of the mountains. If you guys remember way back in the day, we always used to go find a dirt pile and play king of the mountain. And you got up on the top and people were trying to knock you off. So you've got Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, that dirty dog, is talking some major smack or trying to play comforter, I think, to our Texas A&M Barstool Cat. And so Lane Kiffin's one of those guys out there. You've got Brian Kelly, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people in the chat, you or your kids could take out Brian Kelly. I'm just not too scared of Brian Kelly. But Brent Venables was my pick. Jay, so talking about fighting head coaches, who did you, when you saw that list, if you're able to, there's that freeze again. Topher, if you want to grab that screenshot, here it is. So Jay, who's your head coaches in the SEC that you would not want to fight?
So when I saw the list, I'm gonna be honest. And sorry about that again. I'm enjoying bad internet, and so I'm using my phone, and of course, wireless is not great. I was able to hear majority of everything you were saying, Coop, and I've just been coming in and out. So this is one of those weird days, guys. Anyway, so first off, on the fight list, this was very intriguing to me. I'm gonna tell you who was shocked me. I think Sam Pittman was down to number 4. That was probably the wildest one to me. That felt super low. Sam Pittman was number 6. So you had Venables, Clark Lays 2, Steve Sarkisian, which I thought he was way too high. 3 for Sarkisian. I would drop Sarkisian.
Well, hold on,
I would drop Elko up.
Is it Sarkisian after he's had a few drinks, or is it sober Sarkisian? Because I mean, that could play a part in this, or we can just move on from.
I don't think he. I mean, Sarkisian's going through his thing, his personal flights, which I'm not going to bag on him on that. But I just don't think he can fight. Like, he just doesn't look like somebody that fights, right? Like, period. Doesn't look like he's a fighter at all. Sam Pittman does, though. I'd move Pittman up probably right behind Venables. Venables runs stairs still. We all know how he looks as far as a person and how intense he is. He looks like he just wants to squabble all the time. Hell, Jimmy Green Beans is a legend, right? But if we go down the line, I think Hugh Freeze is lower than he should be. I don't know about Kellen DeBoer. I haven't really seen his personality, but Mark Stoops is definitely too low. The last one is perfect. I think that last one, Drink, is definitely a last one. But yeah, this is the list was intriguing. I do like what Venables is. Clark Lay. I don't know about him being that hot. Sam Pittman's number 2 on my list. I think he's gonna wrestle and beat the crap out of him. That's one of those. Him and Seth Luttrell are 2 coaches you would not want to mess with.
No. I mean, you don't want to. You can throw in guys like Jay Valai. If you've ever watched Jay Valai is in a medium all the time. That's what he looks. But I mean, Jay Valai is stacked. So, Sam Pittman. That man may not be able to coach very well, but I don't want to tango with him in the ring. And but it's crazy. I'm a little curious about Josh Heupel. I just feel like Josh Heupel is. I think he might be a little bit more feisty. I think he's got some pent up aggression deep inside of him. So I don't know. Maybe Heupel might be one. And so if anybody in the chat, ever sees Josh Heupel and maybe take his hat or something like that, see if he gets a little scrappy. But again, I'll just say this: it is absolute June and July content. And thank God for people squabbling over college baseball. And again, I played college baseball. So just all this squabbling over college baseball and acting like you just did something as a university by stealing another team's coach. I don't care if it's your little brother. I mean, it's still college baseball. So, but this is the season for lists and for absolute shenanigans.
It is, man, and going back, it just cracked me up that this is the topic of discussion, from Texas A&M's coach leaving and going to Texas, and Texas A&M fans literally melting down after. I mean, I get it. I mean, you just came back from a national championship, and your coach just bounces on you. It makes you feel like, kind of like how y'all were mocking Oklahoma with the Riley situation, right? So, yeah, it's just hilarious watching them melt down, especially all those Stooley people. I don't even like that outlet in general, so I don't reference them whatsoever. But yeah, it's just hilarious seeing everybody losing their minds. But I want to go back to the football portion, the blue chips, right? Seeing Oklahoma go, because shout out, if you watch my video I dropped this morning, I can't think of the handle's name off the top of my head because I'm fighting with my interwebs, but they put out the progression of blue chips that we've had over the last 10 years, right? Basically since the end of the Bob Stoops era to now. And every year after Stoops, we saw a little bit of increase, but when we got to Venables, we stayed in the higher echelon of it. We're in the 70s. 70 last year, 71 Venables' first year, 70 last season. Now we're at 73. We've done nothing but go up and up and up, in which that puts you in national championship contention, right? Michigan won the national championship with 54% blue chip ratio. They were basically in the 50s, depending on the recruiting site, but they were in the 50s. But they had a lot of older players. They had a lot of seniors, super seniors, guys that have been groomed and played together for a while. Oklahoma's pulling that on the defensive side of the ball, which is why I'm just like, I ain't concerned. We've got a lot of that, right? We're returning number 3 at 86% of our defensive production. As long as Venables gets them on the right track, we can come out there with a nasty defense next season that literally carries us through most games. We've watched teams in the SEC get carried by their defenses. I don't see why Oklahoma couldn't do the same. So having that blue chip ratio helps a lot because that puts you in the top 8 of teams that are legitimately going to be contending. And statistics have shown that every year since 2017, all 4 teams in the college football playoff were teams that were in the top 10 in blue chip ratio. I think Cincinnati was the only one that snuck in there that time when they played Alabama, and we saw what happened in that game, right?
It's, we were talking about Luke Fickell, I think, on Hall of Fame with Jason not too long ago. And, yeah, I mean, that's just kind of one of the only times that it just something random just happened. So you got to have the blue chips, and again, it's way more than it's way more than just the starters, because SEC life, you can't depend on your first line. Like you gotta have guys
Right.
in. We're looking at a 6-man defensive tackle rotation. Not too long ago, I don't think that we had 6 players on the field that could see the field at that position. But now,
True.
with Bates and Schmitty working in these guys, you've got progression from some of the guys who've been around for a little while. Now the blue chippers, in David Stone and Jaden Jackson come in. This is an absolute, happy thing to if you're a Sooner fan.
Yeah, no, I agree with what we have in the chamber. We have an opportunity to do something we haven't done in a long time, which is look really good on the defensive side of the ball. I know y'all Sooner fans, you missed that, right? Don't we miss the era of the like 2000 like threes and fours of just nasty defenses, and all we need to do is just stay healthy to win everything? Yeah, I miss those days too. But I think we'll have also enough depth to where that won't hinder what we're doing each year. We'll have the capabilities of bouncing back. So, all right, Coop, with my internet acting weird, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to get out of here. Want to thank everybody for pulling up. Please hit the like button if you're new to the channel, subscribe. And if outside of that, rate, review. If you're listening, rate, review, give us 5 stars when people deserve it. Give us 5 anyway and gift it. And we'll make this up for you all. Definitely Sunday we'll go live. That will be the last one before we officially join the SEC, guys. That will be the day before the big party. If you plan on hitting the party, show up. I plan on being around Norman. I'm going to try to get myself up there so I can at least see something. Hopefully I can have something to give away and hand out. But at the same time, make sure y'all be prepared because we're going to be losing our minds heading into the SEC. All right, Coop, last words.
Hey, just keep it going. Like I said, I think that if you haven't checked the schedule, check it out because I think they got events in Tulsa also. You're going to have stuff out in Oklahoma City. So wherever you live, there is some stuff. I'm pretty sure that live streams are going to be going on. I do know that the Sooner Scoop guys are trying to put something big together. So you got a lot of people coming in, and I mean this is an absolute celebration. And here's what I'm the most excited about. I want to go to ESPN.com and go to and see Oklahoma not under the Big 12 anymore because it's still there and it drives me nuts. So I want to be able to see that. That's the thing I'm most excited about. And but if you guys hit us up, I mean, obviously Jay's going to be working on the internet. Come on now, let's give it all the blessings that we can. And but again, guys, check us out, watch us out on that Xbird app because some more fun coming out here throughout the rest of the week.